Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to your live Q&A Investment Dominator call. And my name is Warren Davis, and I'll be facilitating the call this evening. There's a few of you online, and we expect some more to be joining very quickly. I'm hoping that you can see my Investment Dominator screen with the how-to that's up. And if you can, I'm going to ask those of you that know how to give us an answer there. If you can just say, someone say yes, so you can hear me okay, and that you can see send me your questions at this time. Okay, thank you, Kathleen, and thank you, Rhonda. Appreciate that. Well, we're going to be answering your questions here on this beautiful Monday. It is May the 20th, 2019, and time is really going by. We are busy at work and busy in our land business and having some good time. So we wanted to, since we got the sound check out of the way, just wanted to make sure we reiterate. Like I said, there's a few of you on the call right now, and we expect more to be joining us soon. But we wanted to make sure that we announced again, just in terms of public service announcement, a way of so everyone is we're in communication with everyone, that the class on next Thursday, the 30th, which is Thursday, and the next class following that Thursday, the 6th of June. So the class on the May 30th, we will be canceling, and the class on June 6th, we will be canceling as well. I'll be traveling those days out of the office, and so we will not be having a class those days. So again, they're both Thursdays. A week from this Thursday, the 30th of May, and then the following Thursday, the 6th of June, we will not be having class. So we hope that you all are doing well, and that you are so far having a great start to your week. And we want to be able to answer your questions here. And those of you that are new, want to give you an idea of the power of this CRM. CRM is a customer relation management tool. That's exactly what the Investment Dominator is. It's a CRM. And if you can see my screen, which is showing you, just gives you an idea of the power of the Investment Dominator that you see here in the middle. And it takes in basically your company information, your county data, your offer requests, and it takes it by phone, or it can actually take it through the website. We acquire information both ways. It takes your property details and all of the various tasks that you have in your land business, and your prospects, your leads, your buyers, not to mention even your seller information, transaction information, and it actually takes in lead tracking information, so you can track all of your leads. This kind of is just a sample of the data that goes into your Investment Dominator, as you can see here in the middle, and out of the Investment Dominator, it produces your letters and your offers. You're actually able to develop your websites out of the Investment Dominator, and it does a lot of calculations for us automatically, and takes care of all of our analytics so that we can analyze our properties and determine good, fair market value. And then it also controls and helps you with your team management. A couple of other items that aren't even on this list. It definitely helps my business with customer management and information about all of my customers and buyers. It handles all of our information with our buyers, and then it also handles sellers as well, seller information. That just gives you an idea of the power of this CRM, and that you all have at your fingertips. And we're going to get right into the answering your questions. And we had a question from last Thursday, because this is Monday, May 20th. We had a question from the 16th from Susan regarding basically how to overwrite. She was asking how to overwrite your signatures, if you have uploaded signature in your Investment Dominator, basically she was wondering how do you handle that. And so we're going to go right into finishing up on answering that question. I missed the portion. I missed the first part of the question. So Susan, if you're on, I apologize. I missed the first part of your question. I just got the last line, which says that you prefer the generate signature. But let's just go ahead and set up a real quick. I did set up one for you here where let's say if we uploaded a signature, and whenever you upload a signature, and again, of course, I just made this signature up, but Investment Dominator would ask you to crop your signature. So you can only have so much room. This is also another advantage to the generate signature. So as you see, it's not going to fit all of Warren Davis on there. So, but I'm going to upload what I have here, the part that I have cropped, and it should upload that and bring that into the Investment Dominator. This is taking a little bit longer than it normally takes to upload a signature. Let me see what might be going on with that. Try it again here. Upload, crop, and confirm. See what might be happening. Of course, when I was demoing this, myself, it worked perfectly. And it was definitely much quicker than it is right now. So let me see here. I go out of, see, brings up land deals just fine. Upload my signature. And crop, I can also demonstrate, I might have to demo this another way. Come on, cooperate with me here. Taking a while. I'm gonna let it go on and process there. The point we were trying to make is if you do upload a signature and you already have a signature in place in the system, it's very easy to overwrite that signature simply by doing or executing the generate signature function. Okay, I will find out what's going on with this, but for some reason, okay, there it is. Okay, so here we've uploaded our signature, and let's say that I came into my system and I already had, this signature that I had created somewhere, and I uploaded it in a file. And of course, I'm not going to update this, but I'm just going to show you if you came in and you already had an existing signature, you simply go to generate signature and you start typing your name. And then, of course, you select any font that you're comfortable with. We're going to do the Sacramento font, and we'll select a nice color here. Why don't we make it a rousing purple there? That's a king's color. All right. So we're going to go in and insert our signature. Now, you can also download it as an image, but we're just going to insert that signature. And as you can see, it took the place of the other uploaded signature. And even if I were to save this and, I went into another section, came back into my profile, and you see my signature that I've already created is there. If I wanted to overwrite that signature, and I just wanted to decided I didn't like that font, I wanted to have a different font, I could come in create a different signature altogether. Let's make it a whole different color. There we go. And if I say insert signature again, now what it's done, you know, the existing signature it appears to still be here, but now I've already, you know, generated a new signature. And once I update that, as you can see, I'll go out and come back into that screen, the previous signature goes away. So that just wanted to make sure that I communicated clearly how to overwrite any signatures that you have in the system. And it's just that simple, is you continue just to create, you know, generate signature and make sure you update at the end of that particular exercise, and you will have your updated signature. I'm really partial to this generate signature because I know this was one of the first tasks that we had to do in the Investment Dominator, was to create our signature for our company, you know, and I had never done that kind of work. So this generate signature makes it much easier. So in any case, we had another question that had come in on Monday, or excuse me, last Thursday as well, and that has to do with using a particular third-party system known as Carrot. And just want everybody to know, before I even explain to you a little bit about Carrot, Carrot is not necessary, you know, for you to be, you know, for your business or for your websites. We had a lady, I don't know if Nancy's on or not, on the call, but she is probably one of our more sophisticated users in terms of understanding, you know, web development, how she may want to develop her websites. And this is perfectly, you know, perfectly fine. So Nancy can use Carrot to interface actually, or integrate with Investment Dominator. What Nancy would have to do, Nancy, if you're on the line, you'd have to connect the Investment Dominator with Carrot, the Carrot application, through our Zapier integration, and integrate, you know, that into the Investment Dominator. And it's just, if you want to understand a little bit more about how to do this, we can search our user guide. And like I say, for those of you that are brand new, this is a very sophisticated activity to take. It's not necessary for you to develop your websites like this. But for someone such as Nancy that wants to use a different, what they call API, or application programming interface, to develop her websites, this just shows you the flexibility of the Investment Dominator. So you can just type in how to set up API, and here's a very detailed explanation how to set up an API using our Zapier.com and connect with the Investment Dominator. So I just want to make sure that we're recording these calls. So for Nancy, that is recorded. If you go in here and you look at exactly how to set up your API, you'll be able to set it up as an interface directly with Investment Dominator. There is also another help tutorial that you can use as well. I'm going to just paste it here, and we'll just go in here and see. I really don't know how to use Carrot to interface with the Investment Dominator. So this just gives you, there's a help.carrot.com tutorial on Nancy, if you want to learn more or go into more detail of how you would set up that API and integrate it with the Investment Dominator. So just want to make sure I reiterate, for those of you that are new, don't get nervous. This is not something that you're required to do or that you have to do. Again, this is for some of our more sophisticated users, and we appreciate having individuals of all levels using the Investment Dominator, because it just shows you how powerful this particular tool is. So you're free to have at it there, and Enjoy, Nancy. I will continue to use the websites that we've developed out of Investment Dominator. Works just fine. So we had a question as well from Tim. Tim's question had to do with basically how to create a tag, and this came from a discussion. I'm going to answer the question in more detail the next question, but his question was basically, how do you tag certain records in the system that you may want to tag, either coming in as you import records or just as you select records. How do you tag records? And so in order to really answer that question, we're just going to do a little demonstration here for you. I have done this before in the past, was a while back, but hopefully this might help some of the new folks as well learn how you can use tags. So for the first part of the demonstration, you'd have to come in and create a tag. You do by going into your Customize menu. And as you can see, tags shows up here. So we've already got a couple of tags created, but I'm going to add another tag. I'm going to call it tag offer phone 3. So one of the first things you do is you have to actually add your tag. And hopefully, so it says I've added the tag successfully. Those of you that may be familiar with what exactly a tag is, it just helps describe an item or a certain type of data. You know, you put a tag on a record, on a series of records that have similar qualities or similar attributes, and you want to tag these records so that you can retrieve them. Can you tag 500 pieces at one time? You absolutely can, Michael. Thank you for asking that. I'm just going to make sure can you tag, he said 500 pieces. 500 pieces at one time, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Okay, so back to our original question on how you tags or how you add tags to records in the Investment Dominator. One of the first things we want to do is, if you determine what you want your data to look like, or what you want your data within this tag to look like, one of the first things you'll do is you'll come in, you can go into your land deals records, and rather than just doing a regular search, this is also going to show you the difference between a regular search, which gives you these items here that you can search from. What we're going to do, we're going to create, which will be an advanced search that we will use for our tags. And let's just say, for sake of time and difficulty, we wanted to create a tag so that we can find all of the records in our system that have phone numbers and that are also under pending preliminary research status. So that could be a lot of records in the system, but we're going to say the first was our phone. So we said if we want to create a advanced search where our phone, our primary phone, has a phone number. So in other words, I want to say this field is not empty. So anywhere in the system where it finds a phone number that has an actual value, that's going to be one of our search criteria. Now, we're going to come over here and we're going to say we want to add a rule, because remember I said we want the primary phone to have a phone number, and next we want the status. So you come over here and you add a rule. Every time you add a rule, that gives you another level to your search capability. We want that next value. We want the status So we want our status field equal to pending preliminary research. So we're looking for a search where this is an advanced search where all primary phone numbers are visible or present, and these are people that want offers from us. So this is I'm going to make it just two levels of searching. So this is an advanced search. So you can either save this search if you want, but we won't really need to because we're going to tag it. And we just want to go on and execute that search. So what the system did, it went into all of the records that are under pending preliminary research, and it already checked to make sure that each of these records have a phone. And if I go in here right now and I edit that record, you'll see that my primary phone number has a value. So that was our search criteria. So, my mistake here. So real quick, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back in and do my advanced search again. I'm going to select my primary phone is not empty, and I'm going to add my rule again, and I'm going to select my status field equal to pending preliminary research. And I'm going to do my search, so that gives me my 4 records. And each of these records, you have to trust me, has a phone number, and it's under pending preliminary research. So at this point, what we want to do is we want to select all, because now, again, this could be your 500 pieces, your 500 records that have the pending preliminary research and have phone numbers. So you make sure you hit that select all. Right now, I'm looking at 4 different records, but you could be looking at your 500 records. You obviously don't want to have to go over here and hit these one at a time, so you want to do your select all. And at this point, now that I've selected all, I want to come over here at this level, and I want to hit my tag. Okay? And it's 4 records selected. Now I'm going to select the tag that I just created, tag offer phone 3. And I'm going to confirm that tag. That's how I add that tag to that particular search criteria. And so now it comes out, it's going to clear my search. So the next question would be, well, how do I execute that tag that I've just created? And remember, we created that tag in our system. So now we're displaying all of our records here. So I simply would come on up here under the search criteria. I'm going to expand that, and I'm going to come down here to this field called tag. Tag is going to come up. It defaults to my first tag. I hit, and I get all of my different tags. I hit tag offer phone 3, and you hit search. And voila, there are my 4 records. I just executed that particular tag that I created. And it's just that simple. And your tags can be more complex than that if you like, but it's basically going to go into all of your data, and it's going to pull whatever parameters you want. So it could be your 500 records, could be 1,000 records. So again, we had this question come up. Now remember, this is a search capability using your tags. So you have to, if you want to get rid of that search that I just executed, because now anything I select in here or anything I do and change status is going to be based on my last search. My last search was based on that tag that we created. So you want to clear your search if you don't want to actually execute it with every single command at this level. I hope that makes sense to you all. So, so the question that followed this, and the reason why we all put this together is because, Michael was asking basically how to differentiate the lists. And that's a good question. Michael asked on how to differentiate the list of records like, you know, prospect status first mailed letter 1. So the first, you know, and the question was brought to us, you know, in the question box, you know, I said you have your first 500, you have your second 500, just to ensure that you're not going to import the various ones all over again. Well, Michael, you can use tags if you so desire. My own self personally, what I would do, I use the bulk level statuses, that is this higher level here, to actually differentiate between letters that I've already imported versus a new import coming in, because I'm going to change the status of them, and I'll just give you an idea of what I'm talking about here. So let's say I'm going to import my, I'm going to do an import, and of course, right now I've got, you know, we're in this import, this is a demo, so we're just talking a few records here, but I do an average of 500 a week, so that's going to be normal for me to input 500 records at a time. And on last Thursday, I think I shared with you all how to actually get rid of your last import, but let's see, it's not cooperating with me here. Okay, there's my demo. I'm going to import a record that has a few new files in it that's going to come in. Let me show you what that looks like, just so that you're aware of what I'm doing here. Import list, and this is the list that I'm going to import. It's coming up here. So this is a new data list that I'm going to import that has some company information. It also has some individuals. So let's say this were a record of 500 or so that were coming in. So that's the record, or that's the file I'm going to import. So I selected that file, and I'm just going to say upload my list. And as you can see, Investment Dominator put in 6 new records. How many records did I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new records. So those are the records that I imported. All right, and if I go back to my land deals, and you see they were all in Davis County, so here they are. So now these records are imported into Investment Dominator, and what's gonna happen now that I've imported there, and they're all imported as prospects. You can see they're prospects, and I had some other records that are prospect. If I want to come up now and generate my documents, because remember, for my business anyway, we use the CSV file. This CSV file I'm going to send to LetterNet Printing. So once I generate this CSV file, which has all of my prospect records in it, okay, this has all the new prospect records that I'm going to generate. And remember, this owner ID field here, this column, Investment Dominator has created unique identifiers for each one of these land records. So I want you to keep that in mind. Okay, we'll get to some of those questions as soon as we get done with this here. I see some more questions coming in. So once I've imported my records into Investment Dominator, and then I have my CSV file created, and I'm saving it, because remember, I'm going to send this to letternetprinting.net with all of my associated my envelopes and all of my letters that I want to go out, my neutral letters I want to go out to my customers and say, hey, I'm interested in buying your land. Once I've done that, for this particular group, I'm going to do a bulk update of these records. Now, in this particular one, I'm not going to execute this only because it would do not only the 6 that I brought in, but it's going to do all of my records that are in prospect. Any record that's in prospect status, it's going to move it to mailed letter 1 automatically. So that's the last step I do when I do my imports on a weekly basis. Just want you all to be aware of that, okay? That's the last step I do, is I do my bulk update. And what that's going to do, it's going to take all of these records that are in prospect status, it's going to move them to mailed letter 1. So, Michael, just to answer your question, when I come back in, if I come back in and I do another import, you know, we're going to say, let's see, if I chose these records here, I'm going to do this manually, but normally your bulk update would do this. And I want to do a change status. My bulk update would change that to mailed letter 1. All right, just want you to be aware of that. These particular records that are in here, though, I'm just going to, because that's for the sake of our demonstration, I'm going to delete them. All right. So that's how I would differentiate the list, prospect versus mailed letter 1, because all of those records I imported would be mailed letter 1. I guess I could have just gone on and shown you that just so that you're aware how it works. Upload the list. Got the 6 records in here. They came back in again. So my bulk update would select these records, all in the Davis County. And if I were to change my status here, I would move them from prospect to mailed letter 1, confirm the move. And basically now I have my prospects. Then on the next pages down, I have my pending preliminary research. And then after that, these records would now be in mailed letter 1 status. So I've got my prospect records, and I have my mailed letter 1 records. And that's how exactly I would differentiate rather than using tags. That's what the power of this CRM is, all within your fingertips under your generate documents selection. Okay, so I'm hoping that gives a little more clarity on exactly how to differentiate those lists. And I got a good question there from Gene. I'm going to try to do your answer your question, Gene, on how do you search for a property that has no address? A property with no address. Okay, and when you say, how do you search for a property with no address, most of these, Gene, most of the records that we deal with, most of our property records don't have a physical address. All we do is we look for the property coordinates of a record. Now, I'm thinking you're talking about how do you search for a property with no address. If I wanted to do a search, let's see, property information, you know, this property address here, longitude and latitude, is the actual property address. And if you had a property address, it would go in this field. But if I wanted to, you know, most of my records have no property address. So if I wanted to search for that, if I wanted to actually search for these records, I mean, I would get probably all of my records that I would have to again go back. I'd probably go back and do an advanced search, and where I might find, let's see, property, state, zip, and mailing address. I would probably put together a search where because I don't see my property address specifically. Oh yeah, property address right here. Where the property address is empty. And if I did that kind of search, property address is empty, I'm probably going to get back, like I say, all of these records, because most of our property does not have address until we've done our analysis. And once I've done my analysis, now again, I do my analysis on pending preliminary research properties that are in that status. So I would come in, I would edit the record, and if I wanted to put an actual property address, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the county picture of that particular file. And I think I demonstrated this a while back. Let me see how I could best show you this particular aspect of the system. Other files, imported list, let's see, image. If I wanted to, let's see, I'll have to go to my personal land record. Let's see. Land, and just so you know, I would probably have a, let me choose one that is here. So this is just a page of a county record. And if I actually wanted to search for this particular record or this particular property, if I wanted to find the property longitude and latitude, what I would do personally, I would go into Google Maps, and I know there's a way we can also do this using Investment Dominator. Alex has made a pretty cool way for you can find your properties within Investment Dominator, at least so you can get a map. But I would use this particular, and I would search for, Acorn and maybe Robin Hill Road. Hope I chose a good one here. Road North. Okay. So as my map came up, as you can see, I have Acorn, hope everybody can see this, and I have Robin Hill Road. So then I come back and I'm looking for this specific property that's adjacent to Acorn Lane and Robin Hill Road, but adjacent really to Acorn Lane. So as you can see, it is this property right here. This is the property. And so again, I'm in Google Maps, and I right click on my cursor, and it's going to say what's here, and I'm going to display what's here. It tells me this, we're in the city of Sanford, and these right here, these are your longitude and latitude. And for me, it's just that quick. That's part of my analysis. And I'm sure there's multiple ways to do this. I'm just showing you one way to do it. I would collect my longitude, latitude. I like having that in my records. So for my property address, I would place it here, and then I would update my record. Okay? So that's just one way that we can do it. Like I say, there's many other ways that I'm sure you can get to that information, but I find that one of the fastest ways. That's one of the ways I'm used to doing it, and I'll get a chance to. I'm sure, Gene, that you may have a couple of other ways to do it. And let's see. Kathleen, you asked a question here. Is the CSV file created only if you select the option to outsource letter printing? We print our own letters and do not have a CSV file showing. Oh, no, Kathleen, that's a good question. Is the CSV created only if you select the option to outsource? No, the CSV is actually created. It's a tool within Investment Dominator, and it's really helps us a lot. When I'm looking at my bulk statuses up top, remember advanced search, new offer request, add record, import, export, etc. These are all bulk level functions, and they're based on the status of your records. And my status of my records, when I import them into Investment Dominator, they come in as prospects. So basically, when I generate documents, Investment Dominator automatically, see at this prospect neutral letter level, these are all of your prospect records. It automatically creates that CSV file for you. And if you print your own letters and you don't have a CSV file showing, the only reason why that is because you may not have imported them into Investment Dominator. But I guarantee you, any records that you have in prospect status, any records, if they're in Investment Dominator and they're in prospect status, and you come up here and you use your bulk level generate documents, so you have to use this bulk level one. Otherwise, if you use this generate documents here, you have to select all of the records that you want to be under generate documents. But if you have prospect records and use the bulk level, it automatically is going to create this CSV file for you. And remember, Alex and company made this much easier for you because with this CSV file plus this generate your neutral letter template and your envelope, these three items must go to letterprinting.net if you're using letterprinting.net. If you're not using letterprinting.net, you know, it's not a big deal. You just don't have to worry about sending either of these templates. So I'm hoping that kind of answers your question on that. It's a good question. So again, let's see. We also have a question regarding, okay, that's kind of outside the scope of the Investment Dominator, but I'm gonna try to give it an answer anyway. Lawrence, this is from Lawrence, and his question has to do with what is the difference between the offer package and the option package. Okay, that is a loaded question, Lawrence. It's a good question, but we'll have to defer you to our LPG2 system. And basically, I'll show you exactly where it's at. I believe it's in module number 10. let's see, I did open up the LPG2 because sometimes I get questions that are directly related to your Land Profit Generator 2 system. And so I logged on to my account, and here we are, Land Profit Due Generator. And it's thinking here. So basically, the question has to do with, what's the difference between an offer package and the option package? So I can tell you honestly, let's see, if we go down to, I think it's module 9 or 10. Okay, here we go. Contract or option. So it's in module 10. That is going to give you a very detailed explanation, the difference between an actual contract or an option. And I'll just share with you kind of like at a high level, the difference is the option, let's say I'm gonna start with a contract. A contract is a written agreement. It's a written agreement between you and the seller for a certain amount of money that you're going to purchase their property and you're going to close on their property. So the contract is just that. It's an actual contract. It's a promise that you're making to the seller that you're going to buy their property. And even though you're really not locked in, the way Jack is so fashioned this system, which is genius to me, you can back out. You have a lot of different ways to back out even of your contract, but it's more of a binding agreement with you and the seller that you're going to purchase their property. Now the option, on the other hand, an option is just that. It's an instrument that gives you, the optionee, that's, you and I would be the optionee, the right to purchase the property at some point, but we're not obligated to purchase the property. The option gives you the right to buy at a period of time, at some period of time, but if you have an option contract and you don't exercise that option to purchase that property, there's nothing you have to communicate. The option would just expire and you wouldn't purchase the property at any particular time. So it's a less binding contract, if you will, and I don't even want to call it a contract. It's a less binding agreement with you and the seller. Now, what the option does allow you to do, it allows you to lock down a piece of property, or you can really, you can tie up a piece of property with a seller, letting them know, hey, I'm interested in buying this property. You can go out and market that property, and when you find a buyer, you can come back and sell that property. You can close on it then, and then you can sell that property to your buyer. It allows you to do that, but it is less binding than the actual contract. And I think that's about as far as I'm going to go into it right now. I want to make sure you know it's in your Land Profit Generator, Module 10. You can get a very detailed explanation of that particular aspect of the business. That's more of a business question than it is a investment dominator question, if you will. Okay. So I'm not trying to skate it. I'm just trying to share with you. It's we don't have time to go into that level of detail on this particular call for that question. So I'm hoping that helps, gives you a little direction on the option versus the contract. We had a question from Catherine, a very good question. Why do we have two different websites, two separate websites? We have a buyer site and a selling site. And again, your Land Profit Due Generator does go into, especially when you're talking about marketing the properties, goes into the different websites that we have, buying and selling. But I'll just answer it again on a kind of a general level. The reason why we do have a buyer and a seller site here, as you can see, our website's buying site and selling site, is because we're basically going after two separate groups of people. Group A is one group, they're trying to buy land from us. Okay, so that would come under, your buying site in the Investment Dominator, we buy real estate fast for cash. We specialize in no hassle closes. So you're trying to appeal to this market of people, Group A, that is trying to buy land from you. Now, Group B is a completely separate group. They are the ones trying to sell us land. If you're looking for real estate for sale by owner, listed under, then sign in up here. Or wait a minute. Excuse me, people. I think I got that backwards. So you're if you're looking for someone that is trying to give you their property or sell you their property, this site says, we're looking for real estate for sale by owner. So they would come into your selling site. Excuse me, I had that backwards. But basically, the answer to your question is, one group is trying to buy land from us, another group is trying to sell land to us. And so these are two separate markets of individuals. And therefore, you want to keep them separate. And trust me on this, you don't want anybody that's trying to sell you their land or that's interested in selling you their land. You don't want those individuals coming and seeing how much you're actually selling property for. So you wouldn't want them to go onto, your site. People that are interested in selling your land, you want them to go into your buying site, because we buy real estate fast for cash. We specialize in no hassle closes. If you like to have cash in exchange for your property, so anybody trying to sell you land, you want them on this site. You want them on your buying site. But you don't want those people that would buy or sell you their property, you don't want them going on your selling site to see how much you're going to make on a 2 or 3 acre property, because this is your selling site that says if you're looking for real estate for sale by owner, listed at wholesale prices, and sign up and gain access. You don't want your sellers going into your selling site and checking out how much you're going to make on properties. So I'm hoping that kind of clears up that question, why we have two different sites. But I've been in the business a while, and when it comes to within Investment Dominator, sometimes I have to think a little bit about what each of those sites are before I can, I know exactly which site I'm on or I want to deal with. But that's the whole reason we have two separate groups of people that we're dealing with. And let's see. Gene, I'm going to have to do a little research on your question. You say you're having trouble with finding property location when using the map pin next to the property address that has the Google Maps pin. You say you're having trouble finding property location. Oh, when using the map pin next to the property address. I think I can maybe help you with that one a little bit. Let's see. If we, let's see, I gotta go back here and find myself a land record. Well, I guess I can use this example again. So, if I want to look at Acorn Lane, this will probably be all we have time for today, folks. Acorn Lane, and it's in North Carolina. Okay, so why am I not seeing Acorn Lane, Robin Hill Road? Let me look at Robin Hill Road. Okay, again, that's our Sanford. Okay, So if I'm understanding you, Gene, having trouble finding property location when using the map pin next to the property address that has the Google Maps pin. Okay, well, I think this is the pin that you're speaking of, and it says you're having trouble finding the property location when using that. If you left click on it and you say, you know, what's here, you can let's see, this is Robin Hill. Search by directions from here. Oh, okay, I know what you can do. Okay, if you want to move that pin, you can say what's here. Once this comes up and you take the longitude and latitude, you can come up here in the actual search, and I believe if you place your longitude and latitude, that moves your pin to that particular location. And then of course, you have to put your cursor right on the very tip of that particular where you moved it if you want to see your longitude and latitude show up again. So anywhere, see, it handles, it moves, this pin moves based on whatever your search criteria was here. So see, I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna go requesting it. I'm having trouble finding property location when using the map pin next to the property address that has Google Maps pin. Can you explain the best way to use that? You know, if I have an actual physical address, wow, and I'd have to get a property that would have an actual physical address. I don't have one at the tip of my fingertips right here, but if whatever I put in my search box here, you know, if it was 1453, well, we do have some that show up here. Michael's Way, Spring Lake, North Carolina. So once I put the address in my actual search box, as you can see, that red pin shows right up here. And if I hover over it and I just touch the tip of it, it tells me that's 1453 Micah's Way North in Spring Lake, and it gives me the zip. So that's the best way I use that. Normally, I'll be honest with you, Gene, I ignore this red pin wherever it's at, and I look for whatever property I'm actually trying to get, and I right-click with my mouse, right-click on your mouse, and it gives you what's here, and when I select what's here, that's where I get the longitude and latitude. And if, of course, there's an address associated with that particular property, I can use that. I want to caution you just before we get off the call here, be careful, even if you go into the county records and they actually have an address that they have associated with that particular parcel. I'm telling you, maybe 7 out of 10 times, that address is not correct. A large percentage of the time, this address is either next to the property or is either across the street from the property, but it's not the property location. So because if you type in that address into your address field here, and then you say search, Google Maps will bring you back and put you somewhere else other than on your particular property that you're looking for. I always use the county map, and I find my location in Google Maps, the exact location. And then I do my right click with my mouse and say what's here, and I take these longitude and latitude 90% of the time, okay? So, folks, I've enjoyed once again being with you, and we had some very good questions today. I thank you all very much for being on the call and giving us your questions. It helps everybody. So I just want to leave you with one thought for today from Winston Churchill. Success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. I hope you got that. Success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. You all are some courageous people. I want you to know that in this business, I've made mistakes. We've all have made mistakes, and it's been a learning process. But I'm gonna tell you what, it's been one of the greatest opportunities I've had for controlling my own wealth that I've ever had in my life. So I just want to encourage you, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you're going to learn. And as you learn, it's going to be money in your pocket as you continue down the road. So success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. Have a great evening, everyone, and we'll look forward to seeing you here. We'll be back Thursday at 12 noon. Take care, everybody. Thank you.